Hey, Shalom. Real quick, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to my power for allowing me to still be in my right mind to pray and repent to Him, as well as make videos. So I'm going to face the east. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wakaha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and bishops, the great millstone who still teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. Those of you, the bulk of you, will have the traditional so-called Latino, Negro, and Native American look, but some of the elect will come looking like the other seven, looking like someone from the 17 heathen nations. That's part of the curse and punishment that the Most High placed on us for going off and being idolaters and worshiping other gods. He spread us amongst the 17 heathen nations. So some of the elect will come looking like so-called white people, so-called Asians, so-called Arabs, so-called Chinese, so-called Japanese, etc., so-called Arabs. So, like the Spirit always has Elder Malcolm say from the GMS Chicago camp, this is not a black-only thing, all right? It's not about skin tone. As Esau likes to try to, well, he not tried to, but he created the term white back in 1681 to help give his people, the lower tier Edomites, which are the so-called white people, give them advantages over us here in America, you know, because Esau, the Amalekites, which are the tiny tops of the Edomites, they hogged the majority of the blessing for themselves, and so for their other Edomite family here in Babylon, he's trying to give them some amenities and some privileges. One of them being that term so-called white, which was invented back in 1681. All right. And Esau likes to use black and white to try to, even with this truth that's being brought out today, being led by Elder Apostle Taharon down, he's trying to call us black Hebrew Israelites. We're not black, all right? If you look up in the Black's Law Dictionary, the second edition, it says that black means it's a non-existent people. Disgusting, untrustworthy, dirty, nasty, death. So this is not a black and white thing. This is a spiritual awakening, as this third temple is a spiritual temple that's being built before the eyes of the elites, and they're scared to death, rightfully so. So I want to pick up, see what like Elder Apostle Tahar says, and see where the Spirit takes me. I want to pick up on a couple weeks ago I was talking about some of the rich families of the other 17 heathen nations that are helping Esau Edom, which is the one who rules this world. The top banking families of the so-called white people, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, so on and so forth, to help establish their new world order with this digital Tower of Babel, where they wish to enslave everyone with the digital RFID chip as the ultimate form of worshiping Esau Edom, his image, and the beast system that he's had up and running here for quite some time. Okay, as well as praising the spiritual demon Satan, which the elect of the nation of Israel, the small remnant of our people, will not do right here. Pertaining to the first 4 words of this verse here in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all right, those first 4 words, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So how is he able to cause all? This is Psalms, the 83rd chapter. And I'll start at the 2nd verse. Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. That's Esau Edom. They lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, which are the Israelites, the people on this side, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have, verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, which are the so-called white people, and the Ishmaelites, which are the so-called Arabs, of Moab, which are the so-called Chinese. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about one of the rich families of the so-called Chinese. right, the Yuan family, which is the so-called Chinese. It says, and their ties to the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds, okay? Major Western dynasties have a long history investing in China, and that also shows why China today has one of the most, if not the most, sophisticated digital infrastructure over there in the land of China, because the Rothschilds, the banking families fund that stuff over there, and they're all for trying to help establish this new world order with everyone being enslaved with the micro digital RFID chip. They already have a well developed credit system over there, digital credit system over there, where if you become a debt dodger, you know, if you don't pay your bills and pay your debts, you become what is known as Lao Lei, which is LAO, spelled LAO, Lao Lei, which means debt dodger. So once you get to that point in their system where you're considered a debt dodger, you will not be able to do things like take flights, ride on trains, ride on public buses. You won't be able to enroll your kids in school. You will lose your job. A lot of their homes now have been integrated with technology where they have a keypad on their door, or fingerprints, or a retina scan reader. All right, and if you become a Lao Lei or a debt dodger over there, you'll lose access to those things, and then you'll end up becoming homeless. There's a lot of that happening over there. You can YouTube that one, or you can look it up on TikTok. Here in America, the same infrastructure is here, but in the form of still, you know, paper currency, but it's slowly transitioning over to the digital ID credit system, where, you know, if you don't pay debts, you know, if you don't pay your bills, if you don't pay your property tax on your home, you'll lose access to your home. If you don't renew the tax and tags on your car, you can't drive your car. If you're caught driving it, you'll end up losing the vehicle. So that same structure is already here. It's just that Esau has to hurry up with the debt, and he's trying to hurry up with the data centers and passing new laws and legislations on the sneak tip, to where he's transferring this same structure that's already here in place over to a digital one. All right. Rothschild investment in 2008, the French branch of the Rothschild Bank, the La Compagnie Financière Edmond de Rothschild, attempted the deal to secure roughly 336 million. Okay. The Rothschild Family Investment Fund later invested tens of millions of dollars into Oriental Dumpling King, a move into the Chinese catering industry. In early 2024, Nathaniel Rothschild, heir to the British Rothschild title, collaborated with Wendy Yu, a prominent Chinese investor and philanthropist, to host a China Night Gala celebrating Chinese culture at a Rothschild family castle. All right? So that's not your everyday average, party or event, like co-workers after a job or something like that. That's major, all right? And also, like I said, the Chinese, so-called Chinese of the nation of Moab, the state of Utah, which is right above Arizona, has a place over there called Moab, Utah. So they're showing and paying each other tribute, showing that, yeah, we have a partnership and we wish to continue business and trying to establish this new world order, okay? Now, in terms of Ishmael, the Ishmaelites, which are the so-called Arabs, here are some of the Arab families. Beanie? I'm going to find it, but let me go ahead to Japan's connection to the Rothschild family. Japan, in Psalms the 83rd chapter, is known as Ammon. All right. The Rothschild family played a critical role in financing the Japanese emperor's rise as a global power in the earlier 20th century. During the Russo-Japanese War, The London and Paris Rothschild banks led major syndicates to issue loans to the Imperial Japanese government, totaling tens of millions of pounds. After the success of a 1907 loan, the Japanese Minister of Finance sent a personal telegram of gratitude to N.M. Rothschild and Sons. Post-disaster aid in 1926, the Rothschilds helped raise finance for the reconstruction of Tokyo following the devastating 1923 Great Kanto earthquake. All right. Philanthropists, the family funded the restoration of the Imperial University Library in Tokyo after the 1923 earthquake and supported prestigious institutions like St. Luke's International Hospital. Now here in America, you have a place, like I said, the so-called Japanese are Ammon. You have a place here in America named Ammon, Idaho. You can Google it, okay? Now, in terms of the Arab family, like I said, which are Ishmael, the so-called Arabs of Ishmael, the Rothschild and Rockefeller families have a long-standing advisory and financial role in the Middle East, specifically with the ruling families of the UAE and Saudi Arabia. In 2018, Sheikh Maktoum bin Mohammed Al Maktoum, which is the deputy ruler of Dubai, met with Alexandre de Rothschild to discuss enhancing cooperation and financing, restructuring. Like I said, that's how Esau is able to cause all on the planet, on the global society scale, to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. These structures, these digital structures, are being erected everywhere. That's why they have so much pride in today's time of attempting this digital Tower of Babel, as opposed to back in the ancient world of ancient Babylon, when Nimrod was trying to establish his new world order. He didn't have the technology and the manpower back then like Esau Edom does today. So Esau Edom's pride is through the stratosphere, and they do not believe that they're going down. Remember, Psalms, the 49th chapter and 11th verse reads as follows. The inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. All right, like over there in Asia, they call that part of Western Asia, they call it Africa, after that dude Africanus. Here in America, they call this place America after the guy Amerigo Vespucci. All right. Now, in terms of naming places after their biblical names, you got places here in America called Edom, Texas, E-D-O-M, Edom, Texas. Okay. An ancient city back in the land of Edom was Bozrah, B-O-Z-R-A-H. They have a place called Bozrah up in Connecticut. All right. Another place, the land of Uz, U-Z. That was a city and a spot of Edom where they dwelt back in the ancient world. Here in America, they have a place called Uz, Kentucky, U-Z. Just go to Google and type in places named Uz, Kentucky. That's spelled U-Z. It's one of them is Kentucky, and another one I forgot where the other one was. Matter of fact, I want to get it right. I don't want to leave folks hanging. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. And this is not all done by my power, underneath my strength and my power to find these things and to have a notion to look these things up. This is the power of the Lord, all right? Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Yah means Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yah means he. Hawa means to exist. His only begotten son's name, which the world ignorantly calls JC, his name is Yahushua. Yah meaning he, Yahushua means deliverer. And they're both so-called looking black men, all right? That is a good image of the Savior right there, all right? That's Yahushua. That's who the world fraudulently calls JC. This, whenever you think about the word JC, that's who you always think about, all right? Fuck boy right there, okay? That's the lie. That's the truth, all right? yeah, they have a Uz, Kentucky, and a Uz in Texas. Okay. So back to these royal Arab families, or the so-called Arab families. What did I say? Yeah, it was Sheikh Maktoum bin Mohammed Al Maktoum, which is the deputy ruler of Dubai. Okay. Now the Saudi, post-oil diversification, both dynasties are frequently linked to the strategic shift of Gulf sovereign wealth funds, such as Abu Dhabi's ADIA and Mubadala, away from oil and toward global technology and green energy investments. Check this out: House of Saud and David Rockefeller. There is a document history of personal diplomacy between the Rockefellers and the Saudi royals. In 1975, following the death of King Faisal, David Rockefeller met with the new king, King Khalid, to discuss policy continuity and strengthen the long-standing ties between Rockefeller-linked oil industry and the Saudi kingdom. All right, and like I said, they have a place here in Babylon called Ishmael, Missouri. All right. Now going back to Psalm the 83rd chapter, another group of heathens that are in compliance with Esau Edom to help establish this new world order. You got Amalek. Now Amalek are the tiny tops, the 1948ers, okay? The Philistines. You have the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, which are those Hamites, all right, those so-called Africans. Now I typed in Google Chat GPT, the richest African families in the Rothschilds. What do they have in common? The connection between Africa's wealthiest families and the Rothschilds and Rockefeller dynasties are characterized by generational business partnerships, industrial parallels, and extensive philanthropy. The Rupert family of South Africa. These are Edomites right here, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember, the Rupert family, South Africa. Yeah, those are Idumeans, or Edomites, if you will. Let me make sure I get that right though, so I can confirm it. Because, you know, that's where people like Elon Musk come from, and he's an Edomite, for sure. The Lord, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Bashem Rakah Quadash, is going to fuck up you people that make up the 17 heathen nations. And there's nothing you can do about it. You are in big trouble. Yeah, the Rupert family are Edomites, but let me go to the ones of them who are not Edomites. But let me go ahead and just read this anyways. Established in 1997 by Dr. Anton Rupert and Baron Edmund D. Rothschild, this joint venture produces world-renowned wines in South Africa. Which is symbolic too, in the sense of, you know, this place America, this whore, is getting everybody drunk off of her wine. Which is her philosophies and her doctrines. Oh wow, South Africa, you got the Oppenheimer family. They're Edomites. Wow. In terms of Nigeria, you got this guy named Aliko Dangote. While no direct family is this. Africa's richest person is frequently characterized as the African Rockefeller. Industrial Playbook analysis compare his $20 billion oil refinery project to John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil. Both figures focused on vertically integrating essential industries, oil, cement, and commodities to transform their respective nations' economies. Nation building, philanthropy like the Rockefellers, the Goatee has shifted significantly toward large-scale philanthropy aimed at African self-reliance. Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good.
Cool.
We're driving by and we're just kind of interested in what you're preaching about.
Oh, you know that the people here on this side, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, make up the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, and that the so-called who the world calls God and who the world calls Jesus Christ, His only begotten Son, are so-called black men, according to the Bible. You know, you can see that this picture right here is the falsetto. That's not the real image of who the world calls Jesus, and those are the scriptures to back it up. Yeah. What are you guys doing? You guys are you Christians or are you?
Yeah, we're Christians.
You Christians?
Yeah.
So okay, so what color is Jesus? Who do you call Jesus?
I believe that Jesus was Jewish.
Okay, but what? Okay, but his physical appearance, what do you believe he looks like?
Sort of like probably dark tan.
Dark
What
tan.
I've always pictured.
Dark tan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So would you say that this image right here is not right, as opposed to this one right here?
I'd probably say somewhere in the middle. I'm not exactly the middle, but I wouldn't say that he's like as white as I am, but I wouldn't say he's as black as you are, more so.
Yeah, but your flesh isn't white and my skin isn't black.
Well, I mean, obviously not like Caucasian and dark brown.
What does the term Caucasian mean?
From the Caucasus Mountains.
From the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, good. So you're saying in between here, but see his flesh is not okay. Like look at your hand and then up against your white T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not physically white, and I'm not physically black.
Yeah.
The term white was brought about in 1681 by the elites to help give privileges to the lower class, so-called white people that was here in America, over there in Virginia. You know. So this whole and it was to benefit your people more so than mine. You know what I mean? Because even though they're not the rich elite Bacon families, yeah, you check it out. Even though they're not the rich elite Bacon, you know, y'all are not of the rich elite Bacon families. The rich elite Bacon families, which are the Rothschilds, wanted to give you more benefits and amenities here, as opposed to me and my people, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
Fair enough.
So you know, it's a whole made-up construct that now, when people have discussions and topics about many things, there's so much unpacking that has to be done just to start at ground level.
You're
to
not
really
wrong,
talk
man.
about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's
anything at all. So, yeah.
But from what I think is that one, I don't think it necessarily truly matters on what color Jesus is.
You don't think so?
I mean, honestly, from like a racing race standpoint, but more so, it's more important on what Jesus talked about.
Okay. But what is that? But where is that in the scriptures? Can you read that? This one is.
What's the second one? Is that Genesis?
No, that Daniel 10 and 5. Daniel 10 and 5. Yeah, it's kind of blurry. Daniel 10 and 5, Jeremiah 14 and 2, and Isaiah 29 and 22. I'll go ahead and get the Revelation 1 and 13.
How's it going? That's pretty good.
And that the so-called white man is known in the Bible as Esau Edom. Okay, this guy was an actual guy named Cesare Borgia. All right, that's the guy who they use his face to use to paint this image right here, and they spread that gospel all over the world. Okay, but in terms of the color of, and this is going to be describing this picture right here in Revelation chapter 1 verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps. The paps is the midsection right here. All right, and that's his belt, with a golden girdle. That's the girdle.
Yeah.
And his head and his hairs were white like wool, white as the snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet were like unto fine brass. Now, when you take brass and you burn it in a furnace, it gets dark brown. Okay, that's and let me see. And his voice has the sound of many waters. So when you hear this description, which one would it would go with this description here as opposed to this one? And these are all in the scriptures. Now I'll go to Daniel 10 and 5. So do you guys believe that you guys are, so what is your denomination? Are you Christians or?
We're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay, so what is that? What do you guys like? What's the message here?
Well, the message is that because Jesus Christ atoned for our sins in the Garden of Gethsemane, and died on the cross, that if we believe in Him, we follow Him, that one day that we can be resurrected and we can be made free from the bondage of sin, that we can one day return to our Father in heaven.
Okay, but you know that he's only dealing with the nation of Israel. He's not here to save everyone on the planet Earth. Like, so when you say these things, I want to ask, where is this in the scriptures that what you're saying? Because the way this goes is the nation of Israel is only here. The one who the world calls Jesus Christ only came to save his people from the nation of Israel. That's in Psalms 147. Let me get it. I think that's 147. 19 and 20.
It says in John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish but have everlasting life."
Okay, but do you know what certain words mean in the Hebrew, in the Greek, and in the Latin? Because that word "world" is only dealing with a specific caliber of people. Like, say for instance, you have the bird world. If you're only dealing with the hummingbirds, like if I'm only dealing with hummingbirds, that's the world of hummingbirds. So it's being said in a if you go to the Blue Letter Bible, where that app, you're allowed to look at words in their original Greek, Latin meanings as well as the Hebrew meanings. That word "world" is referring to the world of people within the vast scope of things. All right. And this is Psalms 147 and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any other nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So he only showed his judgments to Jacob and his people. He didn't show it to the whole entire world. And only they know the law, statutes, and commandments. And they're the chosen nation of God, not the whole world. So it's not what you're saying it is. You know what I mean?
Well, all right.
Yeah. But you're entitled to believe what you want. I'm entitled to believe what I want. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But that's what I believe. And yeah, I mean, you got any more questions about any of this? Like, anything?
Nope.
Okay. All right, cool deal, man. Yeah, those are the two sticks. The two sticks of Ephraim that was joined. I mean, the two sticks of the house of Israel that was joined together. You had the southern kingdom, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then you had the northern kingdom. They used the name Joseph, but Joseph was not one of the 12 patriarchs used as one of the 12 tribes. It was his son Ephraim. All right, because Jacob blessed Ephraim and Ephraim and Manasseh. Yeah. So these are the two sticks that were joined together. The southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then the northern kingdom, beginning with Ephraim all the way down to this day. Yeah. So, but you see, that's what I mean when it says join the house of Joseph. It says that in the house of Joseph, it'll say that. But it's talking about the chosen lineage of Joseph, which was Ephraim. So that same thing applies to John 3:16 when it says, "For God so loved the world of Israel," because it says that each nation shall be like a nation in and of itself. Like Ephraim itself means he is fruitful. He is like a nation in and of himself. But he is still of the 12 tribes of Israel. One of the 12 patriarchs of the man named Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. So that makes them Israelites on here. Just like Edom, Jacob's brother Esau, his name was changed to Edom. His children are known as Edomites because they come from the lineage of Isaac and to Esau. See what I mean? So yeah.